Hey, welcome back to Dad Life Chess. This is Joel. It's been a little while, it feels like, since my last video. Kind of a busy week, but hey, we're back at it tonight, so I'm going to try and jump here into the 10-minute pool. Looks like we have a game here. My opponent plays d4. Actually, it's kind of nice to get a d4 game. My cat is meowing in the background, so good times. I think my wife closed the door, and my cat likes to go in and out, in and out. Wants to have free range. So, okay, so this is a typical standard setup for white. I like to play this Chevenenko Slav kind of structure. If my opponent plays, okay, yeah, something like this, I think actually here I can just play bishop g4. So I'm not necessarily ready to like trade off this bishop, and for the knight I'll back my bishop up if I need to, especially since white is probably going to castle kingside. I think this is one of those situations where I'm supposed to take first, because there's this move and then this. Things get awkward. I'm actually kind of curious here. I think this is a situation where I'm supposed to take first on f3 and then take back on d5. Takes queen here. I'm second guessing myself. Sometimes okay, so didn't need to fear that, I guess. I think I can just play here. Have ideas of this, then castle. Okay. I think these kind of positions by playing queen b3 are probably better now. That's interesting. I don't necessarily want to allow my opponent to push b5. So I'm okay with this kind of structure. My opponent is playing quickly, which is fine. I just have to remind myself to not get too far down on time. This is an interesting idea here. My opponent is trying to reroute his knight into the c5 square. And I think let's see here. I think that's best. Okay, that works. I feel like I want to try to get e5 in. Okay, I'm going to play queen b6, and my idea is I want to start pushing these, push the a pawn. Try to attack his pawn on b5, b4, I apologize. These are kind of structures that I actually kind of have a hard time understanding a lot of the general plans and ideas. I feel like white just kind of has a nagging advantage, especially when they get their knight into c5, and it seems like if you take, they just get this like protected passed pawn, and then it just makes for like an awkward end game. But I don't mind this one as much. I don't know if my opponent played the most accurate move order, so I don't know. I feel like my opponent is going to play his knight into b3. My opponent is thinking, which is maybe a good sign. Yeah, it's been a few days since I've jumped on here for a recording. Played a over the board tournament yesterday. We in our weekly chess club. We have this chess club here, the Knights Alliance. It's kind of a small group that gets together, and we play a casual game 20 tournament, which is a lot of fun. I ended up winning yesterday, which was kind of nice. I beat the higher rated opponent at the club, which is always a good feeling. I did play a game against my brother-in-law Luke, who's also on this channel, and I think he mentioned in his previous video that he might be doing a recap. Let's just say I got very lucky in that game. He had many chances to, at least, especially in the end, I think he was completely crushing me and ended up using the clock as a weapon, as International Master John Bartholomew will say. Okay, so my idea here is to play a5. I feel like that's my better chance here. Yeah, I think I'm gonna push a5, and then my idea is takes with the knight, because then I can plant my knight into c4. And then kind of do the same thing that I think my opponent was planning. Right now, I'm threatening to take on b4. And obviously, I would win a pawn in this position. Right now, also, if my opponent plays knight c5, whenever the knight is on c5, it's kind of, I don't know what it is. I always have the same feeling in like, what is it? Like the Stonewall structures where, okay, so yeah, my opponent plays there, and I'm definitely going to take back with the knight, and he'll probably trade off, I would imagine. But I don't feel like that was a bad situation for me, because then I'm on this pawn on a3 twice after this exchange, and the plan that my opponent had it didn't really come to fruition. Yeah, so now I'm technically on the pawn here. I feel like this knight jump is kind of an annoyance. Is it just a one move threat though? Is there anything more? Oh no, because if he takes, no, wait a second. Yeah, I think I can get, that is actually a good move. The idea is here threatening knight d2, and if my opponent guards the d2 square, I can simply take. He's not obligated to take back with his rook. If he takes back with the bishop, I might just bring my rook onto the c file and get control over the c file. But the idea is if he does take back with the rook, then I can still play knight d2 and then put a tempo on the queen. So the idea is if he moves here, I take here. Whoops, I take here. Yeah, exactly. So that was my idea. I think I take, if he takes back with the rook, then I play here, and I get this kind of a bind on the position. So I'm going to take here. And if he takes back with the bishop, I can then just bring my rook to the c file. I have control of the c file. And I feel like my pieces are more active than my opponent's. Yeah, so he has to protect d2. Okay, so now I can just bring my rook to the c file. Okay. Now, I don't necessarily mind bringing my knight back, but I also can just go here, correct? Here. And then here. That seems more, what do you say? It seems more forcing. Now, one thing I obviously want to watch out is for my back rank. I feel like my back rank's a little bit weak right now, but I do have control over the c file. My opponent is, I think, dropping a pawn. Because if I take and my opponent does something like this, and I can't do that. So yeah, I think. Yeah, I think that's a pawn. And I'll probably. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's interesting. That was a good move. That was a really good move. Yeah, didn't see that. Missed that. Totally missed that. Yeah. Okay. Huh. Is there a way? Oh, man. I'm wondering if there's a way to... Shoot. Takes. Oof. Yeah. Yeah, I should have seen that. Interesting. I feel like I'm losing this game. I want to see if there's a way to like anchor my pieces. Okay, my opponent thankfully can't go there, so I can just go this. I don't know. I just don't think this is enough. I really don't. But perhaps this is going to be tough for my opponent to break through. I don't know. My opponent's also up on time, so my chances of swindling, I don't think are going to happen. But you never know. You never know. If I can trade off all the pawns, I might be able to salvage this into a draw. So that's what we're going toward. And this is kind of one of those situations where you make a mistake and then you have to basically change your idea here. Okay. Kind of want to get my pawns on. What's the best way to do this? Let's go here. Oops. Okay. Can I just go here? Okay, I don't want to get too far into, let's see here. Let's see here. How do I do this? Kind of want to build a pawn chain where I think I'm messing this up. I want to try to basically paralyze his pawns on dark squares. Okay, that's a problem. Yeah, that's a problem. So let's go here. Yeah, if he goes here, I just go here. The idea is, if he goes here, I just drop back. But I want to like paralyze his pawns, and I want them all to be on dark squares so that it kind of has this pawn chain, and so it's guarded by this bishop, you know, long distance. And if I can advance this pawn, I feel like I'm in a good spot. I really do. So my cat wants out, wants in, wants out, wants in. My cat, ironically, and I did not do this because of Grandmaster Simon Williams, but my cat's name is Charlie as well. And I thought that was kind of Charlie the chess cat. I don't think we're going to go with that, but it is what it is. He's not as cool as Charlie the chess cat, I'm sure. Okay, yeah, I don't want to go, I don't want to get in here because then he's got a lot of this kind of goofy stuff. And right now, okay, so I'm not actually entirely hating my position. My position is kind of, I think, holdable. I feel like I got low lag, I guess. So I don't want to. Okay, so my opponent may sack. If that's the case, I'm going up here. Here, I might be able to get this pawn now. No, yeah. I mean, what's he gonna do? What's he gonna do? Okay, okay. Takes. Takes. Here. What you gonna do? I'm running this pawn. I'm running this pawn. Oh my goodness, what am I doing? What am I doing? Oh, you can take. He takes. I take here. And I go. My opponent offered a draw, and I will gladly take that. Wow. Okay, so, whew. All right. That's going to be definitely an instructional game. I made a blunder, but I was thankful that I didn't panic and like freak out and say, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to just resign here." I don't think my opponent played it like 100% correctly. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back to the beginning. All of this stuff is pretty standard opening here. I do want to look at this line. Let's see here. Right, yeah, a lot of this stuff, I know that's like, it's probably way beyond my depth in chess, but I feel like there's some like nuanced move orders here where there's an early queen b3, and some of this stuff gets a little bit dicey. There's even lines where black like guards his b7 pawn by playing rook a7, and I probably should learn these lines better. The reality is most of my opponents at my level play e4, and so my d5, d4, d5 repertoire with this Chebanenko Slav is pretty. It's got a lot of holes in it because I don't spend a lot of time studying it, and I don't get a lot of games, really long games where I have to really think. And sometimes when you play longer games, I think these ideas have a tendency to stick more. If you play like Bullet and Blitz, not as much. So here I felt like my position was better. I'm looking forward to seeing the evaluation. I really felt at this position I was able to make some breaks, and I was in the driver's seat. Took here, boom. My I should have realized at this point. Go back. I can't take here because he takes here. Well, I then can take here. It might have been better. It might have been better to take with the queen. I do want to look at this point. I want to look at move 23. So here, I just did not think that all my pieces are on dark squares. That's always a great thing. If your opponent has one bishop left, like I always in the end game, I'm like, okay, if you got a light square bishop, all my pieces are going to be on dark squares. If you got a dark square bishop, I'm just putting all the pieces on light squares. I don't know if that's like a good thing or it's just my blitz mindset. It's like, just get away from those dark squares. And I did not do that in this game because I basically lined up everything. So I take here, and then my opponent's like, yep, we need this. Now, I did not want to give my opponent the I didn't want my opponent to have the queens on the board and be down the exchange. So I was like, you know what? I want to try to anchor my position. I felt like there was a way for my, okay, maybe not. Maybe not. Interesting. I was wondering what would happen if my opponent played here. Takes, because then he's threatening back rank. I'm wondering what happened if my opponent was playing here. I want to look at this move 26, but my opponent allowed this. This is what I wanted. I bring my king up. This all is probably, the computer's probably like, no, yes, and I literally had no idea what to do here, but I wanted to exchange off all the pawns. And I thought the only way I can do that is if I can anchor my pawns on a dark square where the base pawn on F6 is protected by my bishop on C3. And so this pawn chain would basically paralyze his pawns and not allow him to get a pass pawn and everything like that. I felt like my king was much more active, and I don't think my opponent played perfectly here. And this kind of stuff happened. My opponent did break. My opponent is threatening to take and then take. So I thought, well, I'll take, takes back. My opponent takes there. Maybe I shouldn't. At this point, I guess my opponent just, yeah, there was no way to win this. So my opponent offered the draw. Okay, well, let's go ahead and look at what the computer has to say. That's painful. Oh, that's painful. Oh, that's painful. I love chess.com's graphs because that is reality. When the dust settled, it was even. Chess.com. Look at that graph. I mean, look at that. I had a -5 advantage, and then boom, missed it, and then gained it back. There is some definite stuff to go through in this game. So wow, look at that. This is kind of interesting though. Kind of interesting. Double check the interface here. Oh, here we go. That's what I was missing. Okay, I was gonna say there's got to be some more inaccuracies. I like these. I like the coloration of the moves to kind of give you an idea of which ones were good and which ones were not. So anyway, so this is all pretty standard stuff. Slav type structure, kind of the Shevchenko bishop G4 here. B5 is the most popular. I don't think I've ever played B5. Bishop F5 might have been better. I should probably look at my lines in this. So bishop e2. This is kind of right. We're at so few games. This is kind of we're out of book here. But so yeah, all this stuff is pretty normal. Takes, castles, knight c6. Okay. b4, b5 is excellent. We're both of us at this point are playing pretty decent moves. It says black has a minimal advantage, not much to write home about, obviously. Knight d2, bishop takes is correct. Takes. Knight d7 is the idea, but queen b6 is also good. So my opponent and I were playing decently well, literally up to this point. a5 is the best move, and I did feel like I had that feeling that I was at a little better advantage, and that is pretty good. I just noticed this is a little bit off here. Let me make that a little bit better, easier to see in OBS. So takes, knight takes, queen takes. Okay, so black has a good position here. Queen b3 is an inaccuracy. That was the first inaccuracy of the game, and the computer is saying rook c4. Knight e4 was also recommended, but rook c4 is a great idea. Again, on the light squares, perhaps encouraging my opponent to take, then anchoring that that forever protected passed pawn. So that's interesting. So I did play knight e4. That was recommended. This was also an inaccuracy. Knight d2. Wow. Knight d2. I just right away knight d2. Why didn't I see that? Because h5 is also an alternative. I think h5 is just basically giving some breathing room for my king. h6, g6, all of those are fine. But knight d2, queen d3, I get my knight into c4. Interesting. So I takes, says it's good. It's kind of, I think this goes back to that that saying, to take is a mistake. Sometimes I let go of the tension too early, and that's kind of a perpetual mistake in my chess playing. So my opponent plays here, yeah, knight c3 is the best move, and now it's giving rook takes, queen a2. Oh my soul. b4. Wow. b4. That there, the pawn is pinned to the queen. a4. Okay, this is not as easy. b3. That seems like a move that I would make. Queen b2, bishop b4, guarding the rook, and then bishop d2, rook, can't go there, rook d3. Ooh, this is dicey stuff, but it makes sense. Boom, threatening back rank. Got to do something about that. Play g6, probably h6, I would imagine. Oh, that's a blunder. Just kidding. Whoa. Why was h6 a blunder? Rook c8. Oh, the pin. Ba-doom. Yeah, don't do that. The idea is here and then here. Oops, not here. What's the right way? Queen. Oh, queen here. Queen B1. Why not there? Oh, wow. I'm literally missing everything. This is so embarrassing. I'm missing everything. Yeah, the pawn. The pawn is actually has the ability to take the queen. So, yeah, that's the idea. So G6 does not allow that, but now my opponent can play bishop takes, queen takes, and this pawn is just a beast. It's just a beast because I'm able to gobble pawns up. Yeah, it's a very good position for black. So unfortunately, I go from a -4 advantage to ding, 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 like nothing. Bishop D2, queen A4. Oh my goodness, I totally missed that. That's a great move. What's the best defense? Counterattack. That would have been a great move to see. It's a great move. Rook A8. Rook A1. Rook D3. I'm out of that pin. And this is just annoying for my opponent because I'm able to play H5. Oh, actually, that move is great. That move is great. Nearly forcing the exchange of queens. There's no way around it. I mean, my opponent can try something like this. But that's a blunder because of rook takes check. Yeah, there's checks. There's going to be discoveries right here. So yeah. So I feel like queen takes, D takes, and then it says D takes. Oh, two protected passed pawns. Two passed pawns. Yeah, these pawns are just rolling too. Boom, boom. Yeah, wow. That's actually instructional. My gut is to always to go back here, but it's to take. I'm sorry, to take. Get the 2 passed pawns. So missed opportunity extraordinaire, and then I play here, and then my opponent literally everything falls apart. It's a +3 advantage. Takes. It was rook A1. Rook A1 is just very annoying because then he's completely up. It's got to do something with this bishop. Maybe even just go back here. I'm on this pawn. Rook E2. You can go here. My opponent can take, right? No, I guess it's my move. There, yeah, protect it. So yeah. Okay. Missing a lot tonight, that's for sure. That's for sure. That's reality. So, yeah, that was definitely a mistake by taking right away. My opponent allowed for me to... The best move was King F2, but still, I was able to anchor this. And I'm actually curious. So, like, we're doing all this stuff. Inaccuracy, better move was... King D6. It says King D6 is good. So King D6. It's not changing a lot in the evaluation, but I'm just kind of curious, like what the computer thinks at the end here. Did we make? So yeah, actually, whoa, that was. So my opponent, by allowing me to play here, this is like dead drawn. This is all zeros. Oh, bad move. So F5, it would have been killer, but instead here my opponent plays rook E4, king F5, rook C4. He played king C4. That's still okay. Okay, so as soon as he let me back in here, I was able to, yeah, all of this. So I basically, when I was able to get back into G3, it looks like it's just from here, completely drawn. Yeah, this is completely drawn. Wow, what a game. Missing a lot, obviously, in my calculation in this game. Not seeing the counter-attacking moves was probably one of the worst parts, and just missing those important pawn pushes. So I would say this was kind of a tactical oversight game more than anything. I felt like I had a very good strategic position after the opening, and I had a very solid plan. But when it really hit that concrete calculation, I just was not sharp, and I think it showed in this game. And it might be due to the fact that I've not been staying up on calculation training a lot recently. So, yeah, definitely some takeaways. Definitely some takeaways in my for me there. But thanks for watching. I appreciate it. The game kind of went from, oh wow, I feel like I have a good position, to oh my soul, I blundered, and now I need to try and salvage a draw. I was thankful for one thing, is normally when I get a move, when I see a move, like after bishop takes, when I see a move like bishop d2, okay, which ironically is a mistake to the computer, but it really surprised me. When I see a move like this, I oftentimes will just get like discouraged and think, ugh, it's over. I was able to, even though it was a mistake and a miswin and all those things and miscalculated, I was able to get a position where I thought, okay, now I'm no longer winning. I'm no longer playing for win. I need to try to salvage the half point. And I was thankful that I was able to do that. If you notice right here, I had 2 minutes. My opponent had 4 minutes. We didn't have a ton of time, but we were able to maneuver. We didn't play the end game perfectly, but I was still able to get out of it without losing the game. So that's something to be thankful for. Missed opportunities, but still definitely where I missed the opportunities, I definitely gained in the lessons learned. That's for sure. Well, hey, thanks so much for watching. I'll try to get another video out sooner than I have been in recent times, but have a great night or day whenever you're watching this. Until next time, thanks for watching Dad Life Chess.